Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live here. It's Monday night, quite late. Actually, I wanted to test my new light. You can see it right here behind me. So I figured, well, why not jump on a live and give you guys a quick update. We had quite a few things happened in the past week, so we'll talk about a few things and. We'll see who is here. If you're here, let me see here. Those of you that are joining, let me know where you're from and let me know your name. So we'll talk about a few things. We'll talk about the new citizenship test. It's coming up. It's pretty interesting. Those changes that are happening towards the end of the year. A major change to the citizenship test. So we'll talk about what it looks like, how it's going to impact people who are taking it. The other thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that immigration officials at USCIS have been ordered not to cooperate with the Biden administration, the transition team. They were specifically ordered not to cooperate. So we'll talk about some of that, how it's going to impact the whole transition. We'll talk about the ruling last week of a federal judge that specifically stated that acting Homeland Security Wolf was appointed illegally, and therefore pretty much all the memos he signed in the past year were also illegal. And we'll talk about how it's going to impact specifically DACA. And also, finally, I'll give a quick update about a few embassies that are, just a few updates for our clients. And hopefully that's going to be good. Let's see who is here. It's late at night, and I'm going to try to answer some questions. Hey, Follow Jesus. Let's see here. We've got the Philippines here. Exciting. I guess it's early in the morning from you. Raul from the Philippines. Everybody in the US is sleeping, I guess. No, we have Estimafos in Dallas and Yash in India. Excellent. Very good. Well, let's dive right in. So let me start by talking about the new citizenship test. It's coming up December 1st. So those of you that are going to file your cases, if you are eligible for citizenship, you may want to file your citizenship like now. The new test is definitely going to be a little bit different. It's first of all, as you know, right now the test has 100 questions. The new test is going to have about 128 questions. Right now, under the current test, they usually ask you 10 questions and you have to answer 6 correct. So 60% approval. In the new test, they're going to keep it 60%, but then you're going to have to go through, they're going to be asking, 20 questions, and the person is going to have to answer 12 correctly. So it's still 60% approval rate. The difference is that in the current test, if you answer 6 questions, they don't have to go through all the other questions. Under the new test, they're going to be asking all 20 questions, and even if you answer those correctly, they're gonna still ask you all the questions. The only exception is if you are 65 years and older and have been a green card holder for more than 20 years, then you will be asked only 10 questions and you have to answer only 6 correctly. I think the interesting thing about this new test is that it's also going to have a little bit of changes in the content, and they have some say, I haven't seen the actual test, but from what I've been reading, some people say they have some political questions, and I give you an example what it means by that. So some of the questions, let me see here. I have it here. an interesting example of a question that has kind of a political tone to it. Let me see here. And again, it's these started. Oh, here we go. So here's a question that something like who does a U.S. senator, congressman represent, right? That's a question that we have on the test. And it's been changed from all people of the state. This is the current answer. It's been changed to citizens of their state, right? Do you see the difference? All people of the state to citizens of the state. So essentially, it's a bad change, and it's basically specific excluding undocumented immigrants from the census count, kind of specifically codified in the test. So it's interesting, and a few other kind of flavor questions like that. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. With respect to the judge's ruling, the federal judge that essentially ruled that DHS Secretary Wolf was appointed illegally, that means that all the memos that he signed during that year, the past year, are going to be essentially deemed invalid. There's going to be a hearing this Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and that same judge is going to decide on what's going to happen with DACA, whether new DACA applications will be able to be filed. But I think it's really important to show that federal judges are not in agreement with the Trump administration, and they are showing their power and what they can do. And I think we're going to see more and more of the decisions. Another one that is interesting is coming up is the public charge. Remember that a couple of weeks ago, a federal judge essentially deemed the public charge decision to be illegal, to be, it's something that the Trump administration shouldn't have done. And then literally 2 days later, there was another decision that public charge rule should stay at least for a couple of weeks until there's going to be a final hearing on the merits, which should happen probably at the end of this week. And they'll decide if public charge will stay. You can see there's a lot of things like that going back and forth. And we're going to see more and more of that happening in the next few weeks as this administration is coming to an end. But again, what is interesting is that there's been clear orders from the Trump administration for USCIS not to cooperate with the transition team, basically not helping them with anything that they need, which is a little bit concerning because, again, there's going to be a lot of things that needs to happen. It should be a collaborative effort, but it's not. This is not what's happening. So. But we'll see what happens. But again, I think this big change with the U.S. citizenship test is coming. If you remember, at the beginning of the year, we already had a big memo from USCIS, sometimes around March, that specifically said that people that are breaking their continuous presence. So if you spend more than 6 months in a year as a green card holder, then you essentially broke your continuous presence in the United States. And therefore, when you apply for citizenship, the burden is on you to prove that you essentially didn't abandon your residency. Specifically in that memo that was issued in the beginning of the year, and if you did, then you have to restart the count from all over again. So that was something kind of a harsh memo that came out beginning of the year, and our year ends right now with this new and harsh and tough test that I think a lot of people are going to find it difficult, and who knows how many people are going to fail it. I mean, hopefully not, but it just it kind of shows you that it's definitely getting more and more difficult. So let's talk about some updates from for this week from the U.S. Consulates and embassies. We had 2 major approvals that came out of Mumbai. These were expedited cases. Remember that this particular embassy in India, we don't have routine appointments currently because the embassy is closed for routine appointments, but we were able to get 2 expedited appointments, CR1 cases specifically from Mumbai. And at the same time, we had at least 3 cases that are coming out of Europe for K1 cases. Again, we are waiting for a court decision on the K1 litigation, and hopefully that's going to help us speed up some of these K1s. But right now, all we're able to do is file these expedited request cases, and then once MVC approves it, we're going to the embassy and asking for an emergency appointments. I don't think that embassies are going to fully reopen, not until sometime next year, probably the end of January. I'm going to start seeing them reopen one after the other. But right now, as we come to the end of the year, proclamation is still on. People are worried that there's going to be an extension of the proclamation before the end of the year if one of Trump's latest moves. So we'll see what happens. So, like I said, if you look at the trend, we've got pushback on USCIS. There was a refusal for them to cooperate with Biden's transition team. We've got a change in the test for citizenship, which is going to eliminate maybe some people from getting citizenship. At the same time, we have almost no movement at our U.S. embassies and consulates and pushing people to get their CR1s and K1s. And all we have to do is either threaten with litigation or try to put pressure on these consulates to expedite cases. So, it's been an interesting week. New test. Court is deciding that DHS secretary was appointed illegally, and who knows what's going to happen later this week. We're expecting to see some more changes, so we'll keep you posted. So this is all I have to report for today. The big news about the citizenship case and a few other updates. So let me know in the comments if you have any other questions. Let me see if I can take a few questions from you guys and see if you have anything. Feel free to post your questions. Let me see here. El Tourist is asking, I'm wondering, after they canceled the interview because of COVID, it's been 235 days, haven't rescheduled it, is it normal? He's in LA County. So this is a question for an adjustment inside the US. You definitely should be getting your interview, and if you didn't, you should make an inquiry. USCIS is obviously open and they are working, and it shouldn't be taking too long for you to get your interview back. So I would definitely make an inquiry with them. Faisal, please talk about CR1 case. So I just talked about it a few minutes ago. I mentioned that currently embassies are not taking routine appointments for CR1s. The only way to get to a case is by trying to expedite it. Let me see here. Wife is in Ethiopia waiting for an interview. Like I mentioned, Africa, many other regions are still stuck. The only way is to try to really expedite it, and you should definitely try it. Let me see here. Welcome from Wuhan, China. How are you guys doing over there? Hopefully you're staying safe. Nena is in San Diego. Welcome. I guess you're also a late night owl, just like me. Let me see here. Let me see any questions. Ali Shah Virgo, any more marriage-based waivers being given due to COVID? Yes, absolutely. So I'll make a separate video about the waivers, but we had quite a few waivers coming in the past few weeks. They're mostly for marriages that are more than 2 years, and also for K1 beneficiaries. These are the main waivers that we've seen, and I'm going to make a video to update. But yes, absolutely, marriage waivers are coming in. Let me see here. Flights from Cuba yesterday opened up. Is there any updates on the CR1 processing going in Guinea or for Cubans? So like I mentioned before, most embassies are not processing interviews on a regular basis. I would recommend you guys to communicate with your individual embassies via email and ask them when they are reopening and when they are going to take interviews. And of course, I will update you more once I know personally about others that are doing so. Anyway, guys, that was all for today. That's the update for today. Make sure you post your questions below. If you have any more questions, I'm going to stay. I'm going to answer those questions in the comments afterwards. So once again, I'll be back later this week with a few more videos and maybe a live by the end of the week. It's going to be a lot of updates, a lot of changes. I think the Trump administration is pushing hard. Trump is not giving up. Today was a big blow with what he was saying that he basically ordered USCIS and DHS not to cooperate with Biden's transition team. That's a bad move. It's going to be tough. I think the people who are going to suffer are going to be the immigrants who are going to fall in the middle here, and so we'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a beautiful night, and I'll see you on our next live stream.